When I'm first doing my design, usually what I like doing is going and getting a shirt that's sort of similar that I'm going to be designing on. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the regular T here, and I'm just going to right click and save image as. Let's go ahead and just save it in our folder here. I created one called pilots, and we'll just save it here. Now I'm going to open that up in my Photoshop here. Alright, so let's start with a new canvas. So in Photoshop, let's just get this a little bit smaller here so you can see what I'm doing. Put that to the side. I'll do a file new, and I usually do like, I'll go 800 wide by 1000 usually, something like that. And so what we're going to need here is, what I was thinking of doing is, there's a couple of different things we can do for an image at the top. We can just use the traditional keep calm crown. We can get that off the internet for free. Or we can put maybe an image of an airplane up there for a pilot, or some sort of universal pilot symbol that I don't know about. We can go look around. That's sort of an option you can do. But for the purposes of this video here, what I'm going to do is just use the crown. But you know, you can split test several different things for a shirt, and I always suggest at least having 3 different designs, possibly 4, and try some different ones. I've even tried to do one of those things where people, you know, you put 4 designs together in an image and you drive traffic to it, and you just ask your audience which one do you like, and put your comments below, and if your shirt is selected, you get one for free. I've done that before, and it's worked. Actually, one time I did it, and all 4 shirts were selling. So that was with a Broncos design. But anyhow, I'm just going to stick with one here. We're going to use the crown. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go get that crown, and I need to get this font. And there's actually a Keep Calm font that's available on the internet. Or you could just match the font really closely by just going through the fonts that are in Photoshop. But getting fonts installed on your computer is really simple. And my favorite site of all time for fonts is called DaFont. Let me just show you that site. It's DaFont.com, DaFont. And so there is just thousands upon thousands of free fonts in here. More than enough than you'll ever... I've never purchased a font before. Oh, maybe once. But I never buy them. I just get them all free here. And if I can't find the one I want, I just find one that's close. And the way that I do it is... in here, in the font, you can actually, so if we just select a category here, you can type in here, like, keep calm, and then you can show 100 fonts at once. Click submit, and now you can see all the fonts, and I just scroll through here real quickly until something catches my eye. I spend hours on this site. I just love it, because when you're going through here, you find all these different fonts, and sometimes you come up with an entire shirt idea with a font. Like, look at this font here. That might be applicable to people that like crossword puzzles or something like that. I don't know. Just off the top of my head, looking at that font. You never know. I've seen some shirts involved with knitting, so maybe that same audience would also like, I don't know, people that love crossword puzzles or whatever those other puzzles are that they play in the back of a newspaper. So this is what I love going. I love going to this site, and it's so easy to install these. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over to Google, because when you on DaFont, I notice that if you try to search their search engine, it's not really that good. Keep calm. And you'll see it doesn't even show any results. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So I just use Google. Let's head on over to Google here and go Keep Calm. See, unfortunately, that Keep Calm font is actually not on DaFont, but I just wanted to show you DaFont because I love this place and I'm here all the time. Where is it now? Keep Calm. I believe it's right. Oh, I should put Keep Calm font. There we go. I think this was it right here. No, that one you gotta buy. Not that one. Oh, here we go. 1001 fonts. I think I've been on here before too. This is a pretty good site, but you get free here. So let's go ahead and download. Click download. Keep calm. I'm going to download it to... I have a folder already made called fonts and I already downloaded it, but I'll just download it again here. And if you're using Firefox to download, you can see that little button there. Just click that. Then you can right click and select open containing folder. And here we go. I'll go ahead and right click this font and I can extract here. I got 7-zip, but if you don't have 7-zip installed on your computer, the extract a zip file is so easy in Windows. You just right click and select extract all. Okay. And here is the fonts. Let's extract this here. Okay, anyhow, there's 2 fonts in here. All we have to do to install a font, the first thing you gotta do is you actually have to close down Photoshop. So we'll have to close down Photoshop here. Then you go to the font and you just right click the font and click install. I've already have it installed, so it's going to install again. And there's another one here. I'm not sure if it's the same font or not. I always just install them all, and there we go. So I've already got that font installed, but now it's installed on my computer. Now you open up Photoshop again. I'll make that image again 800 by 1000. And I do 800 by 1000 and 72 pixels per inch with an 8-bit RGB color on white background. It's usually what I have for my first image. So now I want to put that font in here. And first thing I want to do is make this background dark because I want to do a light font on a dark shirt. It's been proven, and Teespring's actually provided this data before through their blog or through their Facebook page, that dark shirts sell better. That's what they said over from all the, hundreds of thousands of shirts they sold. They said dark shirts sell better. So I usually stick with a dark template. So I'll just take the little square tool and just put a square in here, and I'll double click on the layers over here and change that to a darker color. Something like that. And I like just to bring the edges into the, so it sort of matches up to the sides. You'll notice that the edge is snapping to the edge there, like the actual box. Now, if you don't see this bounding box around your object, when I say bounding box, I'm talking about these little squares in the corner where you can actually grab it. If you don't see that box, there's most likely a checkbox up here. It says Show Transform Controls. So if you click that, they should show up. And I think in earlier versions of Photoshop, it says something else. Photoshop has the most ridiculous names for their tools. It's funny. Anyhow, let's go ahead and snap it to the side. If it doesn't snap to the side like that, if it's just going freely, under View, you can see here Snap. Make sure that little checkbox is selected. Then it will snap to the side. There's also a shortcut key you can do as well. I love doing that. See right here, Shift Control plus the semicolon. So Shift Control semicolon will also do exactly that. So if I want to stop it from snapping, sometimes it's a pain in the butt when it snaps to the side. Control Shift semicolon on your keyboard, just like I did there. I guess you can't see it, but now you can see it's not snapping. If I do it again, it should snap. There we go. Now let's add that text. So I'll grab the text tool, and what I'll do is over in the side over here, let me just get the layers. This is the layers window here. If you don't see the layers in your window here, you can go to Window and then select Layers, or click the F7 button on your computer. So I'll make a new layer here. There's a new layer button in the corner. Just click somewhere in here and just start typing. Keep calm. And it looks like the font, my initial font. So if I click the font right here, it actually automatically went to the Keep Calm. If you don't see the font thing here, you can go to Window, character, and it'll show up. And then in here you can just go and browse down until you see your font. Keep calm. There's actually two of them now. Let's select that one. And this is it here. So I'm just going to go and I want to resize it. So what I'll do is I'll single click in the corner that I've selected it. And once you do that, hold down the shift key on your keyboard and it will resize nice and evenly. As soon as you take your finger off that shift key, it's going to do funny stuff like this. So make sure you keep your finger on the shift key like that, and then it'll resize nice and evenly. So keep calm. I guess I want to show you that little trick. I'm so used to my tricks, I forget to mention them. Okay, what I just did there, when you left click an object, like this text layer object, once it's selected, hold down the control key and your alt key at the same time, and then single click and drag, and you'll get a copy, as many as you want, just like that. That's like the easiest way to clone an object. Another way to do it over in the layers palette is right click and you want to select duplicate layer and then click OK, and you'll duplicate that layer. That's another way. So this one here, keep calm and drop your gear was the idea. Drop your gear. And those fonts there, you want to keep them all the same. Oh, I want to make sure you save it, so I'm going to go File, Save. You always want to make sure you save it here. I don't name them anything fancy. I just call it Design 1. And what I want to do is show you, you can see this font here, this one and this one look like the same size, and then these ones are a little bit smaller. But what I find is with Keep Calm ones, I like to keep them fairly the same size font. And so what I want to do actually is make it all on one line there. So I want to take the word keep out of there and calm out of that one. There we go. So keep calm. Then you need, whoops, escape key. That's cancel what I just did there. So keep calm. Okay. And one thing I like doing is I'd like to select all these things at once instead of individually doing it. And a trick for doing that is, you know, so I go to select it all. This layer in the background actually moves. So to stop that layer from moving, over here on the right hand side, just click this little tiny lock button, and it will lock this layer so it won't move anymore. So now I can just select things real quickly. Then if you want to unlock it, just select that layer again and just click the lock button, and now it's unlocked. That's a real handy little trick I do all the time. So now I want to make the little and. So I want to do keep calm and then in the brackets down there, I'm just going to put I'm a pilot. At first I thought you could put it's okay, I'm a pilot, or I'm a pilot. Those are things you'd like to test. But for this particular example, I'm just going to do I'm a pilot. So let's bring another layer here, and I'm going to make this a lot smaller. So if you hold the shift key down again and go really small, like that. Now I want to show you another way of resizing. You can select the box again, and you can hold down the shift key and the alt key at the same time, and what that will do, it will resize in the same spot. You can see that it's not moving. If I let go of the let go of the alt key, it's going to do this. See that? It's sort of resizing from the top left hand corner down, but if I hold down the alt key, it's going to go within the same spot. And that's nice when you have something already centered and you don't want to center it again. So anyhow, it's just another little trick there. So I'll just make it a little smaller and type in and. Then I'll take that and double and duplicate it down here and just go I'll do it all in capital. Sometimes I like putting spaces around one space in there so you can sort of see the word a little bit better. So now all we got to do is sort of line it up. And I'll show you how to do that a little better. I'm just going to quickly do it here. That looks pretty good. So we can grab all that and move it down. Now this image looks really small, but it's actually really big. You can see it's at 33% here. So if I click the zoom in button here and I go, that's the original size here. So what I need now is that crown to put at the top. So let's go and find a crown. Let's head on over to Google and we'll type in keep calm crown, and then I'll just go to images or click images right here, and then what I'm looking for is a vector or PNG or something. This one here is probably good enough. Yeah, there we go. So I'll just right click, save image as, save that to our folder. Now let's open that up. So we'll bring it in here, file, open. There it is. So now what I want to do is I want to bring this crown into here and I want to change the color from black to white. So you can see that we found a nice PNG image. So when I actually just drop it right in here, you can see it's nice and there's no white in the background. Let's say you couldn't find one that was actually white. I want to show you how to get it out of there. I already lose my page. There we go. Let's see if we can find one. Like say for example this one right here. File, save as, and if we open that up in Photoshop here, you'll notice that it's all like red in the background, and like, you know, you try to drop something like that on your image, it's not right. You know, you have to get rid of all that red. Well, one way to do it is you can simply just use the select if you'd like over here. So with this image here, let me just get rid of that one. With this one here, I'll make a new layer. So I'll just duplicate the layer. If you can just see that there. Right click and duplicate layer. Click OK. So I got the same layer again. And I'll just make the bottom one like non-visible. And then just select this magic, what's this thing called? Magic wand tool. Click in the click in the red area. And then just hit delete on your keyboard. And then you can go into the little red areas and start deleting. But let me show you a better way of doing that. Well, first, let me finish this method first. I guess I don't want to skip ahead here. So just basically go in here and just keep clicking these little red dots and just get rid of everything there. We got everything. One more there. Here and here. And then to deselect something, just Control D on your keyboard to deselect. But you'll notice that there's a little faint red line all the way around everything. Obviously, you do not want that in your design. And this is really, really important. So let me drop this in here. There's a really tiny, tiny thin line, red line in there, and you can't really see it. But what happens if you upload this to Teespring, Teespring will detect there's another color in there, even though you can hardly even see it, and they'll charge you more money for that color. So it's important to get rid of it. And it's really, really simple to get rid of that color. I want this to be all white. So let me show you how to do that. You select this layer over here and just double click the layer and to bring up this layer style window and go color overlay and then click the little color blocks and just make it all white. And now what that just did, it made the entire object white. And I can actually do that with the same one in behind there that we dropped in before. That's how you make that one white as well. Color overlay and then make it white. Obviously I only need one of these, so I'm just going to delete this top one here. But this one here, I'm going to have to resize it there in a second, but I want to show you another method for extracting out stuff here just real quickly. So I'm going to go back and delete that layer and duplicate it again and show you another trick. This is something I actually figured out just recently. It's a sort of a new thing I found out, and this is awesome, and I can't tell you how handy this comes in. I want to get rid of all the red at once. How do you do that? Go to Select, Color Range, and it brings up this color range box, and now just you see automatically a little color dropper. Just select somewhere in the red the color that you want to remove. Click OK, and now it's all selected. Just hit the delete key. Voila, all done. And again, just double click that layer, set it all to white, and you've got your white crown fully extracted from that red background. Cool, cool. All right, let's get back to this here. What I want to do is take this crown and put it at the top. I need a lot smaller. Now, the one thing with this Photoshop, this version of Photoshop, is that if you just take this object, click the corner, and start resizing it, it's actually going to look all... You see how jagged that looks? It looks horrible. That would look nasty on a print. Oh, they'd probably fix it up a bit, but it doesn't look that good in the image. So I'm going to go Control Z to undo what I just did. To avoid that, over in the Layers palette here, you want to right-click and select a Rasterize Layer style. I think it's, I don't know if you can see it there. Rasterized Layer style. Or it might say Rasterized Layer, whichever one is enabled. This one's enabled right here. So now that it's rasterized, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo. Right click, you want to convert to Smart Object. Sorry, Smart Object. So convert to Smart Object, and then you select the corner, and now you can resize. And once you see that diagonal lines show up, that means it's a Smart Object. And when you hold your Shift key down and start to resize and let go, it's nice and smooth. It doesn't have any jagged areas. And since it's a smart object, you can actually go back up again and it will still retain its nice smooth edges. So that's the awesome thing about a smart object. As long as you don't go bigger than it originally was, then you're good to go. So let's just go down here and make it look cool. So I'm just going to zoom out a bit here. I'm going to take the zoom tool. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and left click to zoom out. And that crown is too big. Usually the crown is a little smaller. And so I'm going to hold down the Shift key and the Alt key to evenly resize down. Probably something like that. And if you're wondering, well, what size should we put the crown at? We can always just go take a look at some other designs. We can just head on over to like, let's say T-View or something like that. And go Keep Calm. You get a sense of how big that actual crown is. There's one right there. So you could see that crown is pretty small compared to the words. So the words would stick out more, sort of thing. So that looks a little too big. So I'm going to bring it down even a little bit more. Maybe like that. So the last thing I want to do here is actually line everything up so it's nice and centered. So what I'll do is I'll first grab the crop tool over here, and I'll just go and get really close to the sides there. And I won't take that bit out the top yet because I'm not sure how snug I want to get in there, like in terms of how close these words should be together. I just want to do that first. First I want to center it. To center it, what I like doing is select the crop tool here. Make sure that's selected. And then you see on the left hand side here, just left click in this little ruler bar here. If you don't see the rulers, I think there's a way of view rulers right here. Okay. And now left click in here and hold down your left mouse button and drag, and you're going to see a line come out. And keep moving until you can get near the center and you see it snap to the center. You have to make sure that view snap is enabled there. And now I know where the center line is. And now all you have to do, again, make sure the view snap is available, or selected, I should say. And once it is, you can actually just snap to the center line. But what I like doing is I'll just zoom in and select an object, and you can see the little tiny crosshairs there. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I can see it, and I'll just use my keys, my arrow keys, and just go until I hit the very, very middle of those crosshairs. And I can see because the little tiny crosshairs turn red when I get right into the middle. And so I'll just do that with all the words here and make sure they're exactly centered. And that's how graphic designers get it perfectly centered every time, so it's nice and even. Well, that's what I do anyways. I don't know if all graphic designers do that, but so there we go. It's all centered up. So I'm going to zoom out here. And then I'll just even up. And what I like doing, just using the mouse keys. If you hold down the shift key while you use the arrow key, it will actually jump by 10 pixels. Where if you let go of the shift key, it'll just jump by 1 pixel. So you can refine how close you want to get. What I find is that keep calm, and there's a little bit more space in between the and. So you can see there's a small space here between the two words keep calm, and then a little bit bigger between the and then do the same down here, make it a little bit smaller. And usually I'll just eyeball it. You know, you can get all technical and put lines the other way as well, this way, like this. You know, you can stick lines and make sure they're perfectly centered and get all technical, but I don't want to do that. So to get rid of these lines, all you gotta do is grab them and just take them off with your mouse. As long as it looks kind of cool, looks all lined up, it's good to go. And then with this shirt that, oh, excuse me, looks like I closed it here. 1 second. You'll notice that I'm a Nurse is really small. It's even smaller than the and. Oh, maybe it's about the same. The and looks a lot smaller in that one. So one thing I'd like to do is reduce the size of the and the I'm a pilot text, and I want to do it at the same time so I don't have to do both of them, and I want them to be even. So here's a trick. I'll just select this text, hold down the shift key and select this text. Now they're both selected. Now I'll just select the corner, hold down the shift and alt, and then just both of them will resize. Of course, they'll move around a little bit, so I'll have to go up. But now they're the exact same size, though. And that's probably cool enough right there. A good test. Oops, okay. Looks like I'm trying to select everything, and a layer in the background is not locked. There we go. So something like that would probably be good. And then we go to the top. All right, there's our first design. So let's go ahead and save it and get it ready for a shirt. Now what you can see here, it's all one color. And all I do is on those layers in the background, I'll just deselect the two background ones so it's all just white text like that. And then I'll go File, Save as PNG. I'll just call it, I already have a design one there from before. I'm just going to call it design 2. And then what I like doing right away is I jump right into my Teespring. And then I'll click on Launch New Campaign here. And I want to do it on a black shirt. You can also do it on blue. Navy blue is probably look nicer. Let's upload this image here. Design 2. And here we go. Now I got an idea of what it looks like. Keep calm and drop your gear. I'm a pilot. So there's our first design.